In 2010, there was a great deal of concern over the California debt crisis. The state of California was deeply in debt. And the Huffington Post wrote this article. It said California's debt now riskier than Kazakhstan's and a bigger worry than Greece. It says, just how dangerous is California's budget crisis? Extremely dangerous, according to two recent evaluations of California's debt by financial industry insiders. California's debt is seen by investors as riskier than Kazakhstan, according to Bloomberg News. 5-year credit default swaps tied to California's debt, which are a key measure of the market's belief in the likelihood of default, are actually trading at 100 basis points above those of Kazakhstan. In other words, the market believes a developing country of just 15.7 million people is actually less likely to default on its debt than California, which makes up the 8th largest economy in the world. Now, a note about this, when they say 8th largest economy, that's when you take California out from the rest of the United States. The rest of the United States, without California, is the largest economy in the world. California, all by itself, is the 8th largest economy in the world. It's bigger than a number of other nations put together. It also says here, Kazakhstan and California, the lowest rated U.S. state, share a Baa1 ranking 3 steps above non-investment grade from Moody's Investors Service. California was given a BBB by Fitch Ratings and an A- by Standard & Poor's, 4 levels above non-investment grade. Both companies rate Kazakhstan lower at BBB minus, 1 step above high-risk, high-yield junk. Now, if you look at the date on this, this is May 1st, 2010. We are now in January of 2013. And Huffington Post has a new article. California budget surplus? Governor introduces plan that eliminates deficit. Now, before I read any more of this, I want to point out that this is the second time Jerry Brown has been our governor. Last time he was our governor, he inherited a mess, and he instituted some very stringent belt-tightening procedures. He himself would not use the fleet of cars. He lived in an apartment. He refused to live in the ridiculous California mansion that was built with overruns and everything. So it really was no surprise to me that everybody voted him back in under our debt crisis. Here's what this article says. It's from Reuters. It's in the Huffington Post, but it's from Reuters. Sacramento, January 10th. California's budget deficit is gone after years of financial troubles, Governor Brown said on Thursday, proposing a plan that raises spending on education and health care, boosting total expenditures by 5%. Brown voted to push back at legislators eager to raise spending quickly, restoring the billions of dollars to social services and other state functions that were cut in lean years. Quote, I am determined to avoid the fiscal mess that the last few governors had to deal with, unquote, Brown told reporters as he introduced the budget for the 2013-2014 fiscal year, beginning in July. That leaves a surplus of $851 million for the year, in addition to a projected $785 million surplus for the current fiscal year, which ends in June, allowing the state to put $1 billion toward a rainy day fund. Brown said he saw a balanced budget for the next 4 years. Spending in the upcoming year is set to rise 5% or $4.7 billion from the current 2012-2013 budget. Schools and universities will see a $4 billion boost. Healthcare spending will rise $1.2 billion, while transfers to local government will drop $2.1 billion. Now, I'll give you a link to this article. Of course, this doesn't mean everything is sweetness and light. A governor still has to deal with the legislature, and as he pointed out, now that there's money, there are people who are going to want to spend it because everybody's going to have their pet projects. And yes, there are a lot of things that need to be done in this state. But Brown is right. We've already tightened the belts. Let's be careful loosening them up and try to target the places it's needed most. One of the reasons I wanted to put this up is first to show people there is hope out there. when we talk about budget deficits and states going broke, California looked the worst. Now, I wasn't terribly worried for two reasons. One, we are the 8th largest economy in the world, and you got to be able to do something with that. Secondly, we had Jerry Brown. And the other reason I wanted to bring this up is Jerry Brown's a Democrat. And we have a solidly Democratic legislature, both Senate and House. What I find amusing here is how so many people, paint Democrats as being spend, 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 and not being fiscally responsible. Well, duh. Brown, of course, being a Democrat, could push back against the legislature some. So we'll have to see what happens, but this is just very encouraging in a world that is still in a financial crisis, with people who still need services that, you know what? Guess what? We can have a surplus. We can balance our budget. And we can pay for social services. And by golly, Democrats can do it. Thank you very much. Bye.